Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Coming at you live again. This is two in a row. Thanks for tuning in last week, and I thought I may as well do another one this week. Why not wake up bright and early? Maybe it's not so bright and early, but for some people, it's very early. But today, this morning, I wanted to talk about setting up routines. This is something that we talk about quite often, but I'm not sure if I talked about it recently, especially on this page. So I thought that it'd be a good idea to talk about routines to help people get going into proper routines for setting yourself up for success. So before we get into that, I'm just going to check to make sure that I'm live in the right place. Looks like I'm live. All right, so let me know if you're watching the replay. It's always nice to know who's watching. And then afterwards, and then if you're in here with me, let me know that you're checking out the show. I can't see who's in here unless you comment. So it's always nice to know I'm not sitting here alone doing it live. Oh, we did get a comment on here. Let's see if I can pull some comments onto the screen. Oh, I got some. Oh, morning, Dorothy. I got some hearts already. I'm guessing that's Dorothy. So Valentine's Day is coming up quick. I hope you guys are ready. We do have some Valentine's Day packages if you're looking for something for your loved one. And some people like to pamper themselves. So who knows? Maybe you get yourself a little gift. So when it comes to routines, I think it's super important to get yourself into proper routines regardless of what it is that you're doing. And I feel like we do routines all the time and don't even know it. So for example, most people they have an evening routine and that gets themselves prepared. It should be mentally and physically for bed in the evening. That may have something to do with going to wash your face, brushing your teeth, and heading to bed. Maybe you turn the lights on in the bedroom. These are usually things that we don't think about. So maybe you turn the lights on in the bedroom, maybe you pull the bed sheet back, or maybe your bed isn't made from the night before, which we do suggest making your bed every morning. And I can talk about that as well when it comes to, I will be talking about that as well when it comes to setting up proper routines. What I think is important. Oh, thanks for the tags, Dorothy. If anyone is in here and would like to tag someone, we'd appreciate that. If everyone tags one person, then you get a chance to know. Then you get a chance to get other people involved in maybe learning about some healthy routines. Dorothy, you know this isn't in the fitness family group, right? I think it's not anyway. Just wanted to double check. This was meant to go on the public page. Um, moving on. So, oh yes, I know. Dorothy says yes, I know. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you guys can definitely tag. You guys can definitely tag your friends or family members or people that you don't even know. That'd be interesting. Just tag some random people that come up on your newsfeed, and they're like, "Why am I tagged in this?" But I really, when I think it comes to routines, I feel like we don't consider the routines that set us up for success. So in many cases, we have a specific way that we go about starting the car, grabbing your things, you jump in your car, and you drive the same way to work each time. Well, that's a routine. And someone might say, well, that's the way I get to work. But you could probably take a couple different ways to work, like different streets or different avenues, or you can even park in a different place at work. I'm pretty sure most cases you don't have an assigned spot, but maybe it's like unspoken. Like people just expect that this is my parking spot. But you could park wherever you want, but you'll park in the same place. When you go to the grocery store, like depending on how big your grocery store is and how big the parking lot is, you'll probably park at least close to the same spot each time. But when it comes to work, for example, you go and you get yourself ready, you throw whatever you need in the car, whatever's in your backpack, that's routine. You're creating a routine of whatever you're packing um, in your backpack or your briefcase, whatever it is that you're taking to school or work, and for kids too. But you take that and you put it in the vehicle, and then you probably park the same way. Maybe some people back into their driveway, some people pulling forward. Like that's all routine. Then you drive to work the same way, and you park in the same spot, and then you walk in the same door. That's all routine, and I don't mean to make that sound like it's monotonous, and certainly not insignificant. It is, because I want to share with you that these are these are important because you can set up different routines. I think sometimes people are like, okay, I'm going to start working out. So they start working out one time. Like you work out one time and they didn't really love it, didn't really feel normal, naturally. You have to drag yourself to your workout area in your home, or you have to drag yourself to the gym, whatever it is, and it was out of routine for you. So it didn't feel comfortable. You didn't feel confident doing it. But the problem is you don't give yourself a chance to develop a routine. I'll keep talking about that. Dorothy is making the bed. What are you saying about making the bed, Dorothy? Morning, Jen. We got Jen in here. And Sue's in here too. Awesome. Nice to see there's some friendly faces in here. And if you're brand new, I don't think that happens very often, but if you're brand new, let us know, because it's always nice to know when we have new faces or our regular faces in here too. So when it comes to the routines, you set up those routines for success without thinking about it. So you go to the grocery store. In many cases, like we suggest writing a list. So some people, like in our fitness family group, we provide a grocery shopping list for you. So you have exactly what you need before you get in there. You know what it's like going to the grocery store, and it's perfectly okay if that's just part of your exercise or maybe part of your routine, or you just like to cruise around the grocery store. But you're in a rush, or you don't really want to be there. Most people don't really enjoy going grocery shopping, so they have no idea what they're getting. They kind of wander around the grocery store. You probably find yourself in the junk food aisle, or when they get to the checkout, like they put those magazines and junk food stuff there for a reason, and then you go and grab these things that aren't on your list because you don't have a list. But if you had a proper routine to go to the grocery store, then you would more easily be able to purchase the things that you want to, that's on your meal plan for that week. Something else that we provide, but everyone should make their own meal plan for the week if you don't have someone doing that for you. So you're setting your week up for success in advance. And I think in most cases, from our experience, we find people that don't follow their nutrition, or kind of fall off with their nutrition, don't really get their proper workouts in that they're supposed to, or that they hope to, want to, or plan to. That's the issue. It's that planning point of it's not in a proper routine. So you just kind of go through the motions and hope it works out for the best. Thanks so much for all the tags, Dorothy. Dorothy says making the bed. Morning, Mom. Dana's in here too. Morning, Dana. The worst is going to the grocery store hungry. Yes. Or hangry. Absolutely. So if you go to the grocery store hungry, that is definitely one of our not to do tips. Don't go to the grocery store hungry. I'm going to make a chart actually that says do's and don'ts. Do make a meal plan. Do make a grocery shopping list. I would actually even suggest trying to go to the grocery store when it's not a busy time. You know what I found? It's different at different grocery stores and in different towns. Like here in LA, at the grocery store at around 5 o'clock, it's a zoo, because most people get off work and then go to the grocery store because they don't have anything planned for dinner. So they go to the grocery store right after work. But it's interesting. I found in Olds, and we go to different places in Olds as well, but at Co-op, for example, what I found around 5, 6 o'clock, I think most people are eating dinner, so there's no one in the grocery store then. So, at any rate, I think that's definitely a thing to do, is to go to the grocery store when there's not a ton of people in there, because you're not kind of waiting or shuffling around people, or It's all these things that we think we don't actually, it's all these things in our brain that we don't think about. Like, I don't want to wait in line, which is one of the reasons we don't want to go to the grocery store. Or there's no parking close to the door. Don't want to go to the grocery store. There's too many people in the produce aisle, for example. So these are all reasons that we don't want to go grocery shopping. So we have to find reasons to go grocery shopping. But that's all based around setting up your proper routines. So one of the I read the discount bin. I'm perfectly okay with saying that, with doing that. I think everyone should. The food's gonna go to waste, and when you eat healthier, a lot of people complain about the cost, only because they're used to buying low quality food that costs nothing. But so when you go and buy more produce or you buy more quality products that cost more, everyone's like, my grocery bill is too expensive. Like, it's not expensive, it's normal. And it would have been normal if you were buying healthier food in the long run, but it will save you time in the future because you won't be waiting in line at the pharmacy because food is fuel. And we believe food heals, food cures, and food prevents. So not wanting to go to the grocery store or avoiding the grocery store, I kind of feel like is a real problem. So it's important to set these healthy routines around going to the grocery store so you can get your meal prep done, so you can set your week up for success for nutrition. Dorothy says, hangry is a real thing. It absolutely is. I have been guilty of being hangry. So let us know in the comments if you have any routines for the grocery store. Like, I feel like I like to shop around at different grocery stores. I'm not loyal to one, if you will. Different stores seem to have better produce, better prices, better discount rack, whatever it is. And I like to. Some stores have like 20% off Tuesdays, like the first Tuesday of the month. So that's important. It's important to understand that you can go to different, but some people have the routine of I go to the same grocery store and maybe even at the same day of the week. Like, so for example, some discount racks are completely empty on certain days of the week, and some days they're filled up. So obviously, if I'm going to the discount rack, I would like to go to the on the days where it's full. So that's just a little tip for you guys when it comes to trying to save money, trying to get in proper routines, and that's just grocery shopping alone. I do want to talk about fitness as well. Thank you for the hearts, you guys. You're hitting the hearts on the page. That makes me feel like I'm doing a good job. And the questions also help as well. We got a couple questions. I do appreciate questions and conversation. Let me get to that in a second. And Dorothy's still tagging. Thank you so much for tagging. If you guys are checking out the show and you want to tag any friends or family or anyone that might benefit from learning about setting your day up for success with routines, I'd certainly appreciate it. Dorothy said, I always go with a list. Stick to the produce aisle. It's true. Like, I'm a list person too. Like, I have to have a list. If I forget my list, I'm like all out of sorts. But it's so easy. Like, well, first of all, it's so easy to get distracted. So if you don't have your list and you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing, it's like a psychological thing. Their marketing departments have people that study actions when they see something, or where do you wander. Like, did you see at the airport, at the Calgary airport, for example, they more recently made it so you have to walk through their duty free. You have to walk through the duty free to get to your terminal, not your terminal or your plane. It's like a psychological thing. You see these right in front of you, like, oh, of course you'd be more willing to buy it if you don't have to go out of your way. It's the same thing with the chocolates and the magazines. Like, they have a specific aisle. They have a magazine aisle. They also have a chocolate aisle. But if it's sitting there right in front of you at the till, you are going to be more inclined to purchase, especially if you're hangry. So just understand, like, it's a psychological thing. They're doing that for a reason. So if you don't go in there with a purpose, you're not going to like, if you go in there with a purpose, it's going to be harder for you to get distracted. But if you don't really, you said duty, oh my gosh, Dorothy, you're out of control. I can't even. I never used like the poop emoji. I kind of think it's ridiculous. But Dorothy, and I tried to use it one time, and Dorothy's like, "Oh, you can't even find it. It's one of my favorites." So she she just said, "You said duty. This is my love." Oh my gosh, you're out of control. Dorothy says I went through the alphabet and tagged one person per letter. It's a teacher thing. I think that would be awesome if everyone tagged one person per letter. We'd have all kinds of people in here. Morning, Sherry. Sherry jumped in here too. Sherry said lists are so important. They are, absolutely. You have to have a grocery shopping list, and that's why we try to make in our fitness family. It's our membership group, and we want to make life as easy as possible. Like, here's your list, here's your meal plan, here's your workout schedule. All you have to do is follow it. So we're making it much easier for people that are busy or don't know how to plan or don't want to plan. That's perfectly fine. If you're not going to do it, you should find someone that will do it for you. Dennis says, "What kind of tea are you drinking?" So I'm in an experimental stage. I'm experimenting with a couple different supplements, and I'm also experimenting with a couple different teas. So tea. So right now this is a green tea, a green sencha tea, and then I have a pu'er tea. I did a whole show about tea last week, and all the past shows are still on the Facebook page, or they're also on YouTube. So youtube.com/trueformlife. That's where you can find all of the past videos that we've done. There's over 1,000 on there. And we have different playlists so you can more easily find them. But this is pu'er tea, which is a fermented tea, cross between a black tea and a green tea, and green sencha tea. So the with that combination, cancer isn't really a thing that we discuss or talk about. It's not our thing, but I was doing some research, and there are four main serious issues that people deal with when it comes to dis-ease in your body. Of course, most of us know people that have or are dealing with cancer on some level, so we have to suppress those cancer cells, because I think that's the biggest one. It's about 40% of what most people deal with at some point in their life. Diabetes is one, like dementia, Alzheimer's is one. That's a smaller percentage. There's one more, heart disease, I think, is the other one. Those are the four main. Anyways, the pu'er tea and the green tea combined, there's some research that has shown to suppress cancer cells and certainly not allow them to grow. So that's of interest to me. Obviously, it should be of interest to everyone. MCT oil in here. MCT oil is like brain fuel. Most forms of energy, like carbohydrates, even fats, those are healthier ones. Like don't worry, we're carbohydrate people, but clean, complex carbs. But your liver. I'm not an expert in this, but your liver has to change the fats. Not the fats, the carbohydrates, which most people use as fuel. Your liver has to change that into ketones, and ketones into energy. So the MCT oil, and there's different strands of MCT oil. MCT oil is extracted from coconut oil. So coconut oil is 100% clean. We use it all the time. But there's different strands, if you will, of MCT oil, and it's that MCT just stands for medium chain triglycerides. So tell me if I'm getting into this too much. But there's different strands. So there's C6, C8, C10, and C12. So this is C8, which is the best for your body to absorb. Anyways, it's for your doesn't have to filter. It goes straight into energy. It helps with mental clarity. It helps with brain health. So that's in here as well. Long story short. And then I'm also experimenting with a couple other things, but that's the tea. Oh, and then there's actually grass-fed butter in there. And I'm not really a butter fan, but I'm experimenting a bit with the grass-fed, and then So that's a saturated fat, which in most cases you stay away from. But you can have some saturated fats. Your body should have some. You want to stay away from trans fats for sure, 100%, and then hydrogenated oils, but that's a different subject. So I don't know if that's why I was waiting to answer that, Dan. I don't know if I answered that correctly for you. But Dennis says, list hands down. And then Patty says, keep me on track. List, keep me on track. Keep to the outside aisles. Absolutely. That's such a good tip, is that many times the stuff, like you go to the cosmetic stuff, like we're not cosmetic, like we don't go to the detergent aisle. Like it gives me a really bad headache, to be honest with you, when I walk down that aisle. I feel like the healthier I get, the more resistant I am to that stuff. So years ago, when I'd walk by that aisle, I would get like a really bad headache, and then I'd get like all nasally, like almost instantly. And I'm getting better. I feel like my body's getting better at defending that. But I still avoid those aisles. We don't even buy that stuff. We order that stuff from Young Living. If you want, I know Dan is in here. She's a Young Living rep. Dorothy's a Young Living rep. So we order that stuff online, and it comes to our door. No thanks. I'm not going through that aisle and picking through and trying to read all the ingredients and trying to find a clean one. It's almost impossible to find at a grocery store. So stay away from those aisles. And of course, you go down the candy aisle, and like, why would you go down there? I see it all the time. People just like have their cart and they're cruising down the candy aisle, and they're like, oh, oh, how'd that get in my cart? Don't get me wrong. If you want to grab that stuff, go ahead and grab that stuff. But that's that's definitely places that we avoid. Jen says, she's talking about Costco. Dorothy says, the poop emoji is one of my top emojis. Awesome, Dorothy. Dorothy teaches grade 1, so sometimes I feel like I live with a grade 1 student. Jen says, I can go down the aisle in less than 45 minutes at Costco because of a list, and I only go down the aisles I need. Yeah, 100%. That's what you got to do to make it happen. I like your learning phase. Thanks, Dorothy. So Dan says, reading ingredients helps immensely to avoid crappy food. Yeah, and you know what the thing is? So when it comes, like, we teach people how to read ingredients and what you should look for when it comes to ingredients, and we can talk about that as well. I meant to talk about routines, but these live shows always tend to go off on different tangents anyways. But when it comes to reading ingredients, you have to read ingredients, because they put, like, big companies. I posted a thing about Kellogg's. I don't think they're gonna hear me. I don't have that many viewers. But I posted something about Kellogg's cornflakes on my page last night. So you should go and do some research and figure out and see why Dr. Kellogg was initially wanted to create his cereal. It's a bit disturbing. I think, anyways, in my opinion. But those big companies that have a lot of money, they pay to put their products at iVision for most people, like the middle ones. Those are the most expensive areas in the grocery store. And I don't think people realize that. They're just like, oh, that's front and center. It must be a good one. Or they paid to put more there. Like when we're in the health food stores, they'd have like big companies like Vega, and they would have like 100 units on a shelf. They take up a whole entire shelf. I didn't realize that they gave the store kickbacks. They gave them free t-shirts. They gave them gift certificates. They took them out for dinner. So they would order as minimal as possible of our products, like small company. No one knows who we are. They, as minimal as possible, they take ours and put it in the bottom corner, and no one would see it. And of course, no one's gonna buy it. And they're like, well, why is there only 4 of those? And there's 50 of these. These must be a bestseller. I'm gonna grab one of those. So people don't read the ingredients, and they don't realize that companies pay more to be right front and center. They're just like, oh, it must be a good one. So sometimes you have to look around to find cleaner products. And of course, you have to read the ingredients. That's a big one. Dorothy says, I like your learning phases. So what happens is before we recommend something, we experiment on our own body. So there's a few different supplements I'm experimenting with right now. I do a bunch of research, then I try it, then I'm like, Dorothy, guess what you're doing? So then then if we see results from us, we'll start talking about it, and then we'll start not so much teaching, but just offering that as a how do you say, offering that as a suggestion to how we found some success and how other people have found success as well. So I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm a trailblazer in that regard of I'll do something that no one's ever done. In most cases, I'll do a bunch of research and I'll find success stories of how people have done things. So for example, like the MCT oil is like really good for your brain. And I'm like, that's something I'm very conscious of because I need my brain. Like we need our brains, and I work really hard and really fast, and I got windows open, and I got Nick, he's our assistant, and he's messaging me, and we got orders going out, and I feel like my brain is really important to be able to keep running a business. And I would say like I live like a high impact life of like so many things going on, which many of us do, but I really want my brain to be there with me for the long run. So that's why I'm like, oh, so I'm researching like what can improve your brain health. And I think that people don't really understand that you can reverse aging. Like you can have cleaner cells, you can have stronger muscles, you can actually build the cartilage. Like a lot of people have knee issues. Well, did you know you can actually build the cartilage in your ligaments and joints? That's not mainstream news because it's not like a great like a sexy subject. Like it's not going to hit the news. They're not going to be like, oh, cartilage growth. Like you have to go and find that research. So it's always interesting to me to learn these different things, find different success stories, and then experiment on ourselves to see if we are able to see results. And if we don't see results, which does happen, then it's not something that we're going to be like, hey, try this. Didn't work for us. Might work for you. Dorothy says, very sciencey. Dorothy says, Tyson. Hey, is Tyson in here? Thanks for the comments, guys. I'm not going to be here too much longer. I'm going to let you go. I just wanted to jump on here this morning and welcome you all to have a wonderful Friday morning. Dorothy says, Thieves household products all the way. Thieves the day? Thieves the day? Is that, what does that mean? Thieves the day? Is that like seize the day? But it's so true. Like when you go and buy those like cleaner products, like we researched Young Living for years before Dorothy started off with one oil, and then we looked at a couple other oils, and then we looked at cleaning products, and now we use like the toothpaste. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to, like, I don't want to spend more money on that company, let's say, for example, but we don't realize like, well, you're spending that money in other ways. Like you don't look at your budget and say, oh, my grocery store budget also includes my detergent that's causing toxins in the clothes that I'm wearing all day long. So you think it's coming from two different places, but it's really the same place. So you could spend your money on clean products in one area or spread it out in different areas. But then in most cases, that's why we jumped on Young Living, to be honest with you. I'm not like a huge promoter. That's Dorothy's gig. But like we do believe in the company and the products. But I really dislike going to the store, and like you go to like 4 different stores, you read all the ingredients in each one of them, and then you come home with 2 products that you think are clean, but it's really hard to find. So you have to keep looking around, and you have to keep searching, and then sometimes the store doesn't carry that product anymore, so you got to find somewhere else to get it. So in this case, we can get everything in one place, and it makes life so much easier. I feel like the shows always go towards nutrition, which is fine. I really enjoy nutrition. But I did want to talk about fitness a bit. Jen said, Thieves hand soap is awesome, but I don't have any right now. Well, if you need some, Dorothy could definitely help you out. So let me just wrap things up here when it comes back to coming back to routines and understanding that if we create healthy routines. Like, so what at the beginning of the show I was trying to explain is that we have routines in pretty much everything that we do. Like, we're creatures of habit. So you sit at the same table at the breakfast table. In most cases, you sit in the same chair. You can sit wherever you want, but in most cases, you go to the same place. And then you sleep on the same side of the bed. Like, you could switch it up one night, go to the other side of the bed. You have to check with your spouse, maybe. You should do that. Actually, that'd be hilarious. I'd love to hear how that goes. If you have a spouse and you crawl into like the different side of the bed, the opposite side of the bed, I think your spouse would be like, "What are you doing?" Because your spouse, as a human, is also a creature of habit. So they might be like all flustered, or maybe you don't sleep very well. But that is setting your that's setting your evening up for success by, like, maybe for example, like, I put a diffuser on in the evening right beside my bed. It usually has RC in it, for example. um and I make my bed first thing I do when I get up, make the bed. But before I go to bed, I pull the corner over so it looks more inviting. But these are all like mentally prepping myself to get a good night's sleep. I'm actually in a healthy habits group that Cassie set me up with. I'm going to do that on February 3rd, and I'm going to talk about all about sleep. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know. I'm sure you can get into that group, at least for that conversation. But you're prepping yourself. You're going through these habits to get yourself ready for sleep, which is setting yourself up for success for sleep. Same thing at the breakfast table. I talked about driving to work. It's all the same. You have these habits all the time, but when you go and try to do something different, like you go and Dorothy says she can invite you into the group if you want to join in that healthy habits group. So if you want to set yourself up for success in other areas, so most people can make it to work and hopefully on time for your boss's sake. It doesn't bother me, whatever time you get in there, but you successfully get yourself ready and you drive to work and you get there on time in most cases. And there's other areas of our life. We can get to the table to eat dinner, we can get to our beds to get to sleep. Like, in most cases there's always routines. And when there isn't routines, like when you're flustered and you have all kinds of stuff going on, maybe you have a project, like a work project, or the kids have a school project you're helping out with, and then you try to completely out of routine, and then you try to go to sleep like instantly, and you wonder why you can't sleep properly. It's because you were completely out of routine and your body wasn't properly set up for that sleep. So when it comes to healthier habits, like going to the grocery store, for example, we talked about creating a list and understanding what time to go, maybe what day to go, and try to do this every week. Every time you go, that's setting a proper routine so you can get more prepared for, I mean, you can set yourself up for success when it comes to grocery shopping, which a lot of people really dislike. And then when it comes to working out, you do the same thing. So we say put your mat out the night before. Know exactly what you're doing for your workout. How long is your workout? You know you're going to one specific area for your workout. You have your workout set up for you, like you know what workout you're doing before. This is all like a routine, but it's setting yourself up for success. So it's important to create those healthy routines around other areas of your life, especially when you don't feel like you have that success. So a lot of people struggle from working out from home, for example. Well, you know what used to happen is you packed your gym bag, you put your shoes in there, you put your clothes in there, you grabbed your water bottle, you picked up your keys, you walk to your car, then you drive to the gym the same way every time. Then you park in the same place, then you go to the gym and you probably use the same locker or at least close to that same area, because we're creatures of habit. The problem now is that everyone has that routine or had that routine, and then it was like that routine was completely wiped away. The gyms are closed, or the gyms are closed. You don't have that supportive community. You're not packing your gym bag. You're not driving. You're not going. All that routine was disappeared almost overnight for a lot of people. So what we have to do now to find success from working out at home is to create a routine. And it starts in the evening when why should I set up my mat the night before? Because it's one less thing you have to think about, and it gets yourself into a routine. Like, I'm working out at home. Why do I need workout clothes? Because it gets you into a routine. You need to get yourself like mentally prepped, just like we do for sleep. Mentally prepped. Maybe you're writing your grocery list before you go to the grocery store. all that sets yourself up for success. So you put your clothes out the night before. You in the morning you get into your workout clothes. Even if you don't, I think the problem is now is people are like, there's no mirrors. Most people aren't doing selfies. No one's gonna see you in your brand new clothes. So so we're completely out of the routine, and it's like, what's the point of putting my workout shoes on? I'm gonna work out inside because that mentally preps you and puts your body in a different state of mind of I'm going to work out. And then like, oh, I don't know, I don't need water next to my mat. I'll just go to the sink and grab a glass of water when I need one. Well, that isn't prepping yourself properly to get yourself into routine to find that success when it comes to working out. Woo! I felt like that was a lot of information there for you. Jen says we'd be live every Friday morning at 6:30 Pacific time, so I can add this to my routine. That's a very good point. So Jen's in our fitness family as well. So in our fitness family, Dorothy does a live cooking workshop every Monday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's important because we want to set up routines for our members. I go do a live workout Tuesday and Thursday mornings at, what time is that? 6:30 Mountain Time. That's 5:30 Pacific Time, which is where I'm at. So 5:30 a.m. for me, I'm up, getting ready, working out with an awesome group of people. So that offers accountability. That's why when we don't have people showing up, we're like, hey guys, where are you? Are you showing up? That's to offer accountability. That's to offer a positive support. It's not like we're angry at you for not showing up. It's to offer the accountability of like, hey guys, we expect you to be there because we want you to see a success. And then we do every Sunday morning, we do another live to prep our fitness family for the week. Prep nutrition, prep food, mentally prep. So we try to do those. Of course, sometimes life gets in the way, but we're very consistent for a reason because we want to have people find success. But for this, I would love to do this every Friday. I do plan to be here, Jen, to answer your question. 6:30 Pacific time. That's 7:30. Well, I'm actually 7:30 seems to be a bit late. So last week I went on at 7, but there's only a few people on at 7. And I think when I say 7, I mean Mountain Time. So 6 Pacific Time. I went on 6 Pacific Time, and people didn't really show up until like quarter after. So today I started at quarter after, and I was like, well, maybe more people will show up at the beginning. So, but in the past when I've gone at the bottom of the hour at 6:30 or 7:30, depending on what time zone you're in, a lot of people didn't really show up because I think they're only a short time, then they have to get ready for work. So I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but I do plan to be here around between 6 and 6:30 Pacific time, or 7 and 7:30. Next week I'll try 6:15 Pacific time, 7:15 Mountain Time, and we'll see if, I know Suzanne's in Eastern time in Ontario, so I think you're 3 hours ahead of Pacific time, Suzanne. But thank you for joining. I do plan to be here once a week. We used to do these. We did these for like, Dorothy, how long did we do these for? We did these for like at least a year, maybe longer, maybe a couple years, every single Friday morning. And that was a big commitment. But I would like to jump on here. So as long as people are showing up, we like to do things that people appreciate and people want to see. So as long as we have people showing up, then I'll be here. Dorothy says probably a year. Yeah, and all the past shows, all the past lives, if you want, are on YouTube. Like I said, Friday morning live with D&D. Yeah, it was fun. It's Dorothy and I. We enjoy our conversations, and we do get quite a bit of comments. People say you guys are really good together. Like, we probably weren't very good together when we first started. That's for sure. I put the camera on Dorothy. I'm like, come on, Dorothy, we got to do lives. And she gets so mad. She's like, I don't want to do lives. And I'd put the camera on, and she'd go like, she'd be like. And I'm like, what? I was like, what is wrong with you? It was like Chandler. We know when Monica was trying to get Chandler to take pictures. It was like Dorothy. It was like Dorothy. It was like... but it used to happen all the time when I would do, like, when I first started out in radio, I would have people that actually come into the studio, and you put the mic in front of them. They just, like, you have a regular conversation. How you doing? People are like a bit nervous but excited, and then you grab the mic, and it comes on like one of these arms, it just swings back and forth. You put the mic in front of their face, and they're like. So it was like my job to like snap them out of it, make them feel calm and confident and relaxed. So I got better at that as I carried on. I've been on radio for 10 years. Crazy. 10 years. Exploring Mind and Body is everywhere. It's across Canada. We're on radio in the Philippines, radio in Europe. It's crazy. But I don't think radio is probably as exciting. I almost feel like almost podcasting might be more exciting, which is a bit odd because it's really hard to get on radio stations. So I feel like that holds a bit more weight. But what can you do? Dorothy says lots of episodes of Exploring Mind and Body too. Yeah, over 500 episodes. So exploringmindandbody.com is where is our website. You can listen to all the past shows there. And it's also on every podcasting platform you can think of. Dorothy says it took lots of practice. It sure did. Lots of practice. And then I was wondering why. And then Suzanne said, I loved it on Friday morning. Well, we're hoping to be back here, Suzanne. So if you'd like to join us every Friday morning, we had a really good group of people that would show up every Friday. And I'm not sure what happened. I think like just life happened, and it's really tough for the algorithms. We used to have quite a few people showing up, and then the algorithms changed in Facebook, and they stopped pushing Facebook Live a bit, and they're focusing on groups. So then we didn't have very, very many people showing up because I don't think they got a chance to they didn't get notified. They didn't know what was happening. So then we thought maybe we should direct our efforts somewhere else. At any rate, maybe you're not interested in all that. Dorothy says, but anyone can have a podcast. Radio is a harder goal to achieve. Thank you, Dorothy. It is. I just don't know if people know that. It's fine though. Like either way, it's free information for people. It's really cool. It's a really cool achievement for me to be like, oh, we're actually on radio. And I have goals in the future to expand that. We're actually working on something right now in that regard. But you can listen to all the past shows on podcasting. I'm going to let you guys go, though. Thank you so much for joining me Friday Morning Live. I'm going to come back next week, next Friday. I'm going to be here 6:15 Pacific time, 7:15 Mountain time. So if you're around, come and join me. We'll come up with a new topic. Tell them your goal. What's my goal, Dorothy? I have different goals. The TV one or the radio one? You're welcome, Jen. Thanks for joining me. And I always appreciate you guys coming in here and hanging out with me, regardless if it's 5 minutes, 20 minutes, as long as we're on here. When Dorothy and I were doing lives, we did a live that was 2.5 hours. Can you imagine? And it felt like 10 minutes because we had people that were like laughing and we're joking around. People asking questions and we were answering them. And it felt like such a short time. But to wake up in the morning and just hang out with awesome people. Like Suzanne says, looking forward to it. What will the topic be? Suzanne, what would you like the topic to be? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know, Suzanne. I usually make it up the night before, to be honest with you, and try to think about it in the morning and try to mentally prepare a bit to what I'm going to say. But Dorothy says big stage. Arr. Yes, you should have to talk about your goals. Big stage. I would love to have a so radio wise, I'd like to be syndicated across the country, like on big radio stations. Right now we're on smaller radio stations, so I'd like our show to be on like big stations in Calgary, Toronto. I want to get on big stations in Chicago, New York, LA. Like those are the biggest markets. That's a big goal of mine. And then I also want to be on like a Jimmy Kimmel stage. I really like interviewing people. I like hearing stories. I think I'm pretty good at it. So I thought it'd be cool to have my own late night show. There it is. It shouldn't be so hard to say now, should it? But I think goals should be scary. They should be challenging. There should be doubt in there. And I have all of those with these. So we're working towards big goals as we move forward. Okay, Suzanne, you think about it. Dorothy says because no one was leaving and it was so much fun. Yeah, that was our 2.5 hour show. We had to change out the battery. We had to change out the batteries a couple times because they were dying in the camera. Yeah, if you guys have suggestions for Friday mornings, just let me know. I'm always open to talking about different topics. I usually talk about something that's on the top of my mind, and that's the easiest to talk about. But if someone wants to talk about something in specifically, then 100% you can let us know, Suzanne or anyone else watching. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me live this morning. Hope you have a wonderful day. Remember your routines. If you want to find success in different areas, maybe where you haven't found success before, you have to find a routine around it. Create a healthy routine, and that will help you find your success. Everything's routine. Got to do routines, even if you don't want to. Have a wonderful Friday, and I hope you have a great weekend. See you guys.